Today is a big day for Marathon fans and PlayStation players because Bungie has officially locked in the release date for Marathon as March 5th. And on top of that, Sony has revealed a brand new limited edition DualSense controller themed around the game. This is the kind of announcement that instantly changes the energy around a project. Marathon is no longer just something we talk about in theory or speculate about in the distance. It now has a real date, a real window, and real hardware being created to celebrate its launch. That combination sends a very clear message. Marathon is a major priority, and PlayStation is treating it like one of those flagship titles going into this year. Let's start with the release date itself. March 5th is a powerful spot on the calendar. Early year releases tend to get a lot of attention because the slate is usually less crowded than the holiday season, and games released in this window have a chance to dominate conversation for months. Bungie and Sony are showing confidence by putting Marathon here instead of trying to hide it later in the year. This is them saying they believe in the game and its ability to stand on its own. When a studio commits to a firm date like this, especially this far out, it usually means the project is in a strong place and they're ready to move into full marketing mode. That means trailers, deep dives, gameplay breakdowns, hands on impressions, and probably some big showcases between now and launch. What makes Marathon especially interesting is its legacy. This isn't just a new IP, this is Bungie going back to their roots, back to their universe that existed before Halo and Destiny. For a lot of gamers, Bungie is defined by Master Chief or Guardians, but Marathon is where their identity really started. Seeing this franchise return in a modern form feels like a full circle moment. It's Bungie acknowledging their history while also pushing forward with something that fits today's competitive and stylistic gaming landscape. That alone gives Marathon a unique identity compared to other shooters coming out right now. Now, the limited edition DualSense controller is where things get really exciting for collectors and PlayStation hardware fans. Sony has been absolutely killing it with their special edition controllers lately, and the Marathon controller continues that trend in a big way. This is not a lazy design. This isn't just a logo slapped on a black or white shell. The controller is clearly inspired by Marathon's aesthetic with bold color choices, futuristic patterns, and a sci fi vibe that feels like it was pulled straight from the game's universe. It looks like a piece of Marathon gear, not just a promotional item. This is the kind of controller that people will want to display even when they're not using it. Limited edition controllers always carry a certain level of urgency with them because history has shown us they rarely stay in stock for long. Once pre orders go live, they tend to sell out fast, especially when they're tied to a highly anticipated game and a studio like Bungie. If you even have a small interest in owning this controller, you're going to want to keep a close eye on when pre orders open. Waiting too long means usually paying aftermarket prices later, and those can get out of control quickly. This control feels like one of those items that will be talked about long after Marathon launches, especially if the game itself lives up to expectations. The fact that Marathon is getting its own limited edition DualSense is also a statement of confidence from PlayStation. Sony doesn't give custom hardware to just any game. When a title gets this treatment, it means they see it as a major pillar in their lineup. It tells us that Marathon isn't being treated like an experiment or a side project. It's being positioned as a core PlayStation experience, something that represents their brand and their future direction in multiplayer focused titles. And speaking of the game itself, Marathon has a lot riding on it. Bungie has built its reputation on tight gunplay, strong atmosphere, and deeply engaging multiplayer experiences. Expectations are naturally high. With Marathon, they have a chance to show that they can evolve beyond Destiny while still carrying forward everything that makes their games feel so good to play. The modern gaming landscape is crowded with shooters, but Bungie has always managed to carve out its own identity. If Marathon delivers on its promise of intense gameplay, deep sci fi world building, and competitive design, it could end up being one of the most talked about releases of the year. This announcement also signals the real beginning of Marathon's hype cycle. Before this, it was all about curiosity and speculation. Now it's about anticipation and preparation. We're going to start seeing breakdown videos, theory discussions, comparisons to other shooters, and probably a lot of debate over how Marathon fits into the modern multiplayer ecosystem. That's when things get really fun, because it means the community is forming, the conversation is growing, and excitement is building in a meaningful way. Between the confirmed March 5th release date and the reveal of a limited edition DualSense controller, Marathon suddenly feels tangible. It feels close, it feels real, and it feels important. This is exactly how you kick off a strong marketing push for a major game. Bungie and Sony have set the stage, and now it's all about execution. The next few months are going to define how Marathon is remembered before it even launches. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. And don't forget to check out my Patreon, where the latest Patreon exclusive is looking at licensed games that were actually good because, yes, they do exist, and we're breaking them down in detail over there. Your support really helps the channel grow and allows me to keep bringing you more gaming news, discussions, and deep dives like this. Thanks for watching, and as always, game on.